Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Debbie. So nice to see all of you today. I hope you all had an amazing Mother's Day. It's been a crazy week at our house. I think a lot of you, anyone who watched yesterday with Gloria, found out that Thursday we had an AC/DC concert in Pittsburgh, and my husband and my boys went to it with me. We all went, and it was really fun. It was more my husband's type of music, but I did know like at least half a dozen songs, and so it was really cute because our oldest is really into kind of like vintage rock, or I don't know if I want to call it vintage, but like 70s rock, I should say. And so he had a blast, and he and I were right next to each other. So he kind of only knew like the songs I did, which was wonderful because then I didn't feel like such a lame-o because I was like singing along with him. And so it was really great. Hi, Judy. Thank you. Rochelle and Barbara. So anyway, that was our Thursday. Definitely something different for us. And I got to say, those guys, they were having the best time of their lives. They were up there like singing and trying to perform. And the one guy, and I apologize because I don't know their names. It wasn't, like I said, this is Jim's band. But the one guy, he's got white hair, he's the guitar player. And he would try and run across the stage, and then he would jump like that. It was a hop, but he was so into it, so excited, and it was just a great concert to be at, a lot of fun. And so, hi Lisa, hi Joanne, hi Connie. Oh, all over the place. Georgia, Minnesota, South Dakota. Hello, rock on. That's right. I did not get high. I did not tease my hair into a big old 70s, 80s kind of rock star girl thing. And I should have worn it today. I did get a t-shirt, a way overpriced rock t-shirt, but very proudly wore it the next day. So like I said, a lot of fun. And then we had soccer this weekend and a formal wedding, which I went to put the dress on that I was planning on wearing. Like I told my husband, like the week before, I'm like, hey, can you take this to the cleaner? I just want to make sure it's all freshened up and pressed for the wedding. And I go to put it on, and it didn't fit. So Friday I scrambled and did a little bit of shopping. And so thankfully Nordstrom Rack had a dress that fit and was appropriate for the wedding. I just had to dress it up a little bit I got a very shiny belt. So you got to have your shine. So that was a blast as well. So it's been very busy. And then it was Mother's Day. So I started saying it, and now there's more of you on, but I hope you all had just an amazing Mother's Day. Everybody treated you like the queens that you are. My family had no idea what to do, and so they pushed it on me, which was totally fine. But around noon, I was like, how about if we go to Putt Shack? I'd been wanting to go, and anytime I asked my boys, they're always like, no, I'd rather play video games or do something with my friends. And I'm like, it's Mother's Day. You have to do what I ask you to. So we went to Putt Shack in, is that called the Strip? Yeah, it's the Strip district here, which if you're not from Pittsburgh is just this great ethnic, it's where the old terminal was, and they've revamped it. And so there's all these wonderful restaurants and activities and just really cool, very, very Pittsburgh. And so please visit there if you come into town. But we went to Putt Shack and had a blast. It was so much fun. Like all the different holes move and they keep score, and you can get bonuses for certain things, and you get like knocked out for, I don't know. It was just cool. So, and then we just went to dinner. So, anyway, that was my day. You guys seem to have frozen. I don't know if we're still getting comments. I noticed I kind of glitched. Oh, Anita from Wisconsin just popped up, so I think we're okay. All right. So I was telling Kate, I found it really interesting that I talked about a bag with you lovely ladies and gentlemen or two out there about a bag. I described it that I saw in Italy, and so many of you, sight unseen, purchased the kit. I love that. I just was like, I didn't think anyone would buy it. And this morning it was yesterday, I came in for some supplies, and a lady was like, Tiffini, I haven't gotten my kit yet for the Italian market bag. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but I spoke about it, but I didn't have the actual pattern written yet or anything. So I wanted to show you the bag that many of you have purchased. And so I love it. I purposely wore a pink shirt today because I wanted it to go with it. Look how cute this is. So this is, I actually am able to get this fabric, but this was from my stash, but I just checked. And so we can actually have a kit for this one as well. But I don't know if you can see this very well. It's not showing on my side, but I also have contacts that aren't doing great. But look how beautiful these little strawberries are. They're so sweet. And then there's this amazing argyle, which is, you know, 70s, 80s. So we're kind of sticking with that theme of my AC/DC. And then what I did is I picked this as my binding strip, which I absolutely love how that turned out. The bag is somewhat reversible. Well, it is reversible. So this is the way I did it. I chose my pockets to be opposite. You're seeing a little bit of my mess over here. We're going to go through that though. So you love it, Carrie? I know, it's so cute, isn't it? It's fantastic. So I do have, I think 4 or 5 kits available for you for the Market Tote. So you'll have some choices. And like I said, the pattern is complete now. It's a very simple pattern because it is a nice, easy bag. But look at this. So it reverses and you end up with this. And I apologize, I didn't quite finish my one strap. And so I've got one pinned on and not completely finished. But here it is like that. And it's got the strawberries on the side. And so that way those side pockets are now on the inside. So really, really cute, fun bag to make, and really easy. So, all right, so that is one thing. I'm trying to think what else I need to tell you. The colors are fun, aren't they? And they just really pop. So I had seen this not too long ago, and I was like, I have to have that fabric even if I don't know what I'm making it for. And I just think this is really nice. With this bag, I did cheat. So if you get this kit, you get to cheat as well. You know I love cheating. It's just my way. So this is a pre-quilted fabric. So I can't change that you have strawberries and argyle on the other side. I don't know why anybody would want to change it. It's just amazing. So that's what you'll get in your kit, as well as the striped fabric for doing your accents. But there are multiple ways to do this. So I actually have sort of the beginnings of one here, a quilt sandwich, but I wanted to show you some other ways. Someone, I can't remember who, and I apologize, had brought up slow stitching, that it's like slow stitching, because that's more like what I saw in Italy. So I did some samples. It's a little hard to see. So these are some fun fabrics that I found. But you can see my stitching isn't the best. This was new for me. So on the back, you can kind of see it pretty well. This was my later one. But I used 2 different kinds, and I don't know if it's going to show well, 2 different kinds of batting. This one, I used a foam, so you can see a foam, and my stitches show up really nicely. This one, I actually really like, but this one I used a batting. I used a polyfill batting, so it's really, really fluffy. And so when I turn it over, you can see this is actually what I consider my exterior, but I went around like my lemon here and my flower and a couple of my leaves. This one I did first, and then I thought, oh, look how cute it is to use that white thread and go around the dark spots. So I just thought that was really cute. And here it is, just straight up and down. On these lines, I thought, well, I'll just use the lines on the fabric, and then realized they were very unstraight. So then I marked straight lines, which I steamed a little bit, but I didn't get it all off of there. And those turned out better when I did that. So I do suggest marking lines with this, just so that you're gonna get straight. So if you like the idea of doing some slow stitching, some of the stuff that was falling out of here, I had gotten some supplies, and we have it available for you. And so again, I know hand sewing is sort of a 4-letter word around here, so I don't want to say that this is the right way, because it's not, but because there's other ways, and I'm going to show you some other ways. But if you want the needles, we have those available to you. I had used a slightly different brand because this is what I had. I had gotten these before, but this brand is rated really well. And so it's 4 needles that you'll get. I can't remember the price point, but it was pretty reasonable if you're wanting to try it. $6. And that gets you those 4 needles. And then there's also, actually, I believe it's the same thread that I used, and it worked really well. Even doing all of this stitching, it barely was frayed on the end that had been going through. So I was really, really impressed with the thread. So if that is something you want to try, there's some, it doesn't take much in supplies to try it. And so, and the batting inside, you could really vary what you did. Patty, I do too. And part of that's because like I go to soccer practices or even sitting in front of the TV. If I'm not doing something, I fall asleep. So I find it helps me to be able to do that. All right. So anyway, I just want to show you that little bit of samples. I'm going to show you on, well, yeah, Jean, we do have a machine. It's the Sashiko machine. And it's a great machine and it's a total cheater. So look at these stitches. They are beautiful. And so the designs were hand drawn on and then stitched on. I think they were hand drawn. I know at least the grids. I think Steve made these different samples. And so I think we have, Marcia, you're looking for the pattern. We don't have the pattern separate for this. I know I keep saying I'm going to do it and then I don't. So I do need to take a hot second while I'm here and maybe put together something with patterns since you guys keep asking for just the patterns. But Sashiko also does, there are, you can buy different patterns and templates and then you just mark it on your fabric so that you can go through and do it. And so anyway, just wanted to show you that. So if you like that and you want to cheat, I would suggest the Sashiko machine, which is back here in the corner, right here. It's a simple machine. This is really all it does. But if you like hand quilting for your actual quilts or for doing bags like this, it's really a fun tool for that. And so, all right, I'm going to move that over here. So kits for this, I'm going to tell you those really quick before I forget. We've got obviously the one for the one I made. It'll come with pre-quilted fabric. We have the one that I showed you last week. That is the lemons. So it's got lemons with the birds and the stripes and the tiles, the Italian tiles. And then I thought this one was really cute too and would make a great one. So I got this, let me get these out of the way. Whoosh. So it's this blue fabric with these beautiful flowers on it. And this, the hand on this is so nice. It's so smooth. And then it has these sweet little butterflies on kind of a peach background. And then I really like this yellow for doing the bindings with. I thought that was really pretty. And so that out of the way. And then the last one, I said there were 3, right? Oh, no, there's 2 more. Yeah. All right. So if you don't like the idea of pre-quilted fabric, you want to do it yourself, I put together this kit, which I thought was really neat. So this, look at the strawberries. Now, I don't have a lot of these, so if you like this, push the button now. So I think I only have enough of the strawberry fabric for like 6 kits. So it's going to be this one and this one will be your 2 bigger fabrics. Look how sweet that is. It's got such a nice vintage vibe. And then this will be for the binding. And so anyway, I think this one's really cute. All right, move those out of the way. This is the one I wanted to make today because I love it. I think it's just so adorable. But I knew there were only 6. So I decided to go with the one that I had lots of fabric for, which is also a beautiful, beautiful one. But I'm obviously in a strawberry mood today. I don't know. So it's these 2 fabrics. And then it has this fabric as your binding. So you'll be able to do the stripe, which I really like stripes for the binding. I think it's really fun. So that is that. All right, I've done the kits. What else do I need to do? Bag Lady Club. So, our Bag Lady Club kit. We have a new one coming. It's coming in June. I'm actually meant to have Kate, and there's no way she can do this right now because I haven't discussed it with her as far as pricing and what goes in each kit. So I'm going to tell you, but Bag Lady kit is going to include a lot of stuff. So I actually have more to show you from it because I ordered it myself. So one is going to be the Tiffini bag pattern, and it's going to be this woven design. And you're going to get the materials to make this bag. You will also get a second pattern using the weaving technique, but you won't have the materials for that. So you're going to get materials for 3 different bags. So one will be this one. One is going to be, the second one will be for this the backpacks. And so that's a Riley Blake. It's Minky Kim, who is so stinking adorable. And so she does lots of tutorials. She's on Instagram. So you'll be able to not only see what I have to say about it, but you'll also be able to look at her videos. Riley Blake also has some videos on with some tips and things like that. This is the actual panel that you will get. I'm not sure how centered I am, but it is really cute. I'll do this. That's probably easier for Kate instead of me waving it around like a flag. So it has just all these great colors. You do use your own lining fabric. And so we have chosen lining fabric for you, but you could always use something else. We picked this one here with the little cherries and the scissors. So it's just a really sweet fabric. We figured it was neutral enough to kind of go with everything. And so, let's see. Mary Ellen, you're asking if I have directions for the market bag in the kitchen. I'm not sure what the kitchen means, but I do have directions for the market bag. So they're very brief. Here is the pattern. See how easy it is? It's very easy. It's a quick one. Even my husband was like, that was a quick one. It looks so easy. And he normally doesn't comment on it. So, but this will be part of the Bag Lady Club. And then the final bag that you will get all the supplies for to make. In fact, Gloria keeps adding little tidbits to this. And I'm like, you're throwing off my budget. But I guess she's the one that pays the bill. So if she wants to throw off my budget, it's okay. So, kit, yes. The pattern does come in the kit. All right, so let me show you the other thing. It's another Minky Kim bag, and it's this Bliss bucket bag. Now, the fabric that she used is from one of her older collections. So what I decided I wanted us to do is change it up a little bit. It's going to be very, very similar. And we'll be using fabric that goes along with this one too. So it's all Sunset Ridge. And so that is what we'll have for that. You know what, Lynn? I'm not sure the exact size of the backpack, but let's see. If I look at the panel, I can measure it. Let's see. Open that up. All right. So let's see how big it is. So the front is going to be, it's a little over 11 inches by a little over 9 inches. So about 11 by 9. And then the depth of it is a little over 4, so about 4.5. So what was that? What did I say again? 11 by 9 by 4. So they're relatively small, but they're not tiny, and they are pretty deep. So I think it's going to be a great project. I'm really excited for it. And the nice thing is too, you can make templates out of your panel, and that way you can make as many of these as you want. So the pattern is essentially your panel. So, all right, so that is Bag Lady Kit. I had wanted this week, what I was going to say, because Riley Blake takes a little longer to get fabrics to us. And generally, once we start sewing for Bag Lady Club, so I usually wait until then to sell individual kits of each of the projects. But because of the wait time for some of the Riley Blake things, it's not huge, but it does take about 2 weeks to get things from them. I had wanted to give you individual kits this week, but I didn't get it together. So possibly I'll sneak in on someone else's show in the next day or two and promote those as well, and then have them for you the next time we're together. We will not be together next week. We have the spring event, so hopefully I will see some of you there. I'm there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, probably the morning of Friday, but I will not be able to be there Saturday and Sunday. So, ooh, somebody's got 90 degrees. Nice. I think we're drizzly and 65. So not horrible, but not great. All right, so I think that's everything for Bag Lady Club. Any questions before I set that aside? I know it takes a minute to well, you guys go ahead. If you have any questions, you throw them out there to me. Spring event, since I brought it up, for me, I am teaching the fun size duffel bag. We have kits available for it that will be released after the spring event, so which is just next week. So in a week and a half, those will be released. The pattern comes with it, the materials to make the fun size, will be in there, but the pattern also includes directions for the mini. Now I did adjust the pattern, so if you like this pocket, you're gonna have to think a little bit because the pattern calls for the pocket to just be between the straps. So I was hoping to get a sample made this weekend, but did I mention we went to AC/DC, we had a wedding, we had soccer, my dress didn't fit, oh, my goodness, and it was Mother's Day. So like many of you, it was a busy time. So, but this bag, we have a couple kits. We have the kit that is actually this bag. So we have the Americana. We have this one that the Kimberbellas started. They didn't quite get it finished. We were working on it together, and then they needed to do their show last week and things happened. But look how cute this is. So they use their fabric. Now, I think this must be Kathy's. You will not get a fourth fabric. So this will just be the same fabric up here. But and then we've got the inside is this. So love this for the exterior, the interior. And so I'll let you see how that is. So that's one. That one's called Star Spangled, I believe. Mm-hmm. All right. And then, I don't want to make a mess over here. We have this one that I showed you before. This one I used pre-quilted fabric, but I didn't love the way it turns out with this bag. And so I had said, if you get the kit, you're going to get this fabric and you're going to get the black accent and the stripe, but you're not going to get quilted fabric. So this is what I picked. I had mentioned a grunge. A couple people said, oh, I like the idea of a grunge, and I love this one with it. So that is going to be your lining fabric, or you could do it exterior. So I guess this is exterior with that, just the pockets. So anyway, there's that one. This one's called Grassy Hills, I believe, and this is a Liberty of London fabric, and so you'll have enough. You could do the whole bag with that. It just depends on which side of the quilting you put out. Pattern is included in the duffel bag, yes. All right. So I keep thinking I'm done, and then I'm like, oh wait, what about this? So, but I think I might actually be done this time. Was there another one for the duffel, or did I hit them all?
No, you got them all.
Yes. All right.
You have the Americana charm bag.
Oh yeah, guys. Okay. So this just got here. This morning, I was just kind of trying to make sure I had everything together that I needed. So we all know, Charming Duffel. We love the Charming Duffel. It's an easy bag. It's super fun. It uses up those charm packs that we adore, but just don't know quite what to do with. So guess what? We're all into the Americana. Here is the Americana charm pack. It is so cute. So it's all of the fabrics that are in there. And so this kit includes the charm pack. It includes a yard of fabric for the lining. It includes a half a yard for the straps and the zipper thingy. So, or the zipper binding, there we go, thingy also works. And of course the pattern is in there and your bozel. So everything is included that you need for making the bag. So that's the Americana version, which I think is going to be incredibly adorable. If you order it quickly today, we'll get the kit out to you. And if you have a spring event next week, maybe you'll even be able to have it in time. Wouldn't that be fun? So, all right. I think now I'm done. That was so much. All right. There we go. Pack it all up, move it over here. I don't want to get in Kate's way, but all right. I do have you should see the mountain of stuff over here, guys. All right. So what we're going to do today is I just wanted to show you some simple ways your machine can do, is there 10% today too? I don't know. Kate, do you know? You don't know, or you know there's not?
There is not.
There is not. I never get the cool stuff. It's never, you know what it is? They all say that I have the best people that watch. You guys are committed. We're all bag ladies and we love it and we have the best time. And so you heard Gloria talk about a competition, and now they're all bringing candy because they know I give you guys candy at the event. And now Steve's sneaking in here. Oh, I don't know what he's doing.
It was still at 10, but we can leave it at 10.
We're going to leave it at 10.
Oh, so Steve heard us talking, and he said we get 10%. So you get 10% back today. So yay! Not only are we the best, funnest class that we have here at Glory Horn. Okay, I know some of the others are pretty good too, but we also get 10% back today. So Carrie, you know what? 10% today. But it was a good question. I'm so glad you asked, because sometimes asking the question and someone overhearing us means that we'll get kind of that too. So very happy about that. All right. Any other questions? Anything I missed? I think I've caught everything. Thanks, Carolyn. I think it's the best too. You guys are the best. And so I think we have a good time in here and putting things together. So, all right. I am going to mark this really quick so that I have relatively straight lines. And so I can see already where I was kind of playing around with it. It did not go straight. But we're going to do a couple different things. You've seen me before. I like just kind of the crazy stitching. To me, that works really well. It's very fast. But sometimes you want to do something, you know, a little different. And so the slow stitch is what I was kind of trying to focus on. And so, like I said, I'm just going to mark this real quick. I was hoping this would show up a little better for you guys. But there are stitches on your machine that will look a little more like hand stitching, if that's a look you want to go for. Now, I do recommend, if you're doing it, you pick a thread that kind of matches. So like I don't know if it's going to show up very well here. I was hoping it would show up okay. I did a bunch of samples at home, and of course I forgot the piece that had all the samples on it at home. But you can see here, what this does is it does a triple stitch, and then it gives just a single, and then it does a triple and a single. So it kind of gives that look of hand stitching. Now, if I had used a lighter color, like a cream or a really soft silver blue, it would really blend better. So that one stitch would definitely disappear into there. So there are things you can do with that. There are other things where if you use a monofilament and you put that in the top, and so a monofilament is like a really thin, basically almost clear thread. You can put that up in the top and then use a thicker thread in your bobbin, and then change your tension to about a 7 to a 7.5. And when you stitch, it'll pull the bobbin thread through, and the top one won't show because it's that thread. And so, and you make a bag and matching wallet in the next Bag Related Club. Oh, that's a great idea, Peggy. I will make a note of that. I like that idea a lot. That would be a great one. What stitch is that? So, so the stitch that pulls up, Judy, that's going to be just basically like it's going to be your triple again. So you're going to do the triple and the one. I'm not sure which one it is on the Radiance. I apologize. Yes, it is like fishing line. I'm not sure. I don't think I had Kate put it in there, so I don't know if we can do a monofilament thread in case anyone wants to give it a try. I was playing with it at home, and I will say I'm definitely not proficient at all. I did some YouTube, and I just was kind of playing with it a little bit. I had some success. The Radiance, the Solaris, I don't know what other ones, I apologize, have a hand stitch feature. So on the Solaris, I know I just kind of zipped over, and it was maybe the 7th category, and it had an S at the top. So it was the S category of stitches, and in there were hand stitches, and they looked pretty good. Now I will say what it did is, I'm trying to think how to describe it. It did the top, it changed your tension to 7, and it did your bobbin thread made the stitches, and it did like 5 really tight, close zigzags stitches, maybe actually probably more like 7 or 8, and that made what you saw. And then it had the top thread, which was, I used just a color that matched my fabric, and that was a single stitch, and it just, you didn't see the bobbin then, and then it did it again. So that was kind of what that one did. So there are some different ways to go about doing it. You could do decorative stitches, and again, you could do hand stitching if that's something that you have time for, or just are like, oh, I kind of want to mix it up. You could do things. Oh yeah, yeah, those are great. So there's a couple different threads. So Kate did find the monofilament. So if that's something you want to play with and try, it really is fun. I did it on the Radiance up here, but it really doesn't show up. So I apologize. I did it at, excuse me, I did it at home, and it worked really well. Here I had used the wrong color bobbin. So we can change our bobbin thread, sorry, allergies are getting me, and I got a little ick in my throat. All right, so that's some of what I did there. Let me see if I can find a bright colored bobbin. Oh my goodness. I forgot to take my allergy medicine this morning, and so, of course, that's a day I'm trying to talk. Let's see, I have a brown. I guess that would show up okay. Yeah. All right, we'll try that. So I'll show you a little bit of that, and then because I wanted to show you how to assemble the bag, I'm probably just going to go ahead and cut this fabric and go through the steps with you. It's pretty fast. It means I'm not going to have mine quilted, but I do. This one is it is the, oh, geez, my brain. It's done. It's just done. It's fusible only on one side. I just grabbed a scrap that I had out here. And so I'm not a huge fan of fusible, many of you know, because it tends to, when you go to quilt it, it pulls off if you don't do a great job of fusing it like this. I had fused just quickly so that it would be easier for me to handle. If you do like the fusible, I highly recommend steam. If you really steam it and then let it completely cool down before you move it, and then do the other side. That seems to help to let it cool, and then even maybe another quick. Hi, Jana. Welcome. All right, and Sandra's here. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, so I'm going to just show you a couple of these stitches that I was talking about, just so we can sort of see what we think of them. And if you kind of like the idea of the hand stitching, we can bring up the Sashiko next week and do a full demonstration of that. And I can bring in that little sample and show more. I just wasn't sure with us making the bag how much time you wanted to spend on this. And so, all right, so I'm going to pop over here. I'm going to change out our bobbin thread because the white, I think, is just not showing up very well for us. We'll see if the brown shows up better. And then we'll make that bag. I'm going to just tuck this in here. All right. Wish I'd had a red or something. Keep peeking around, but I don't. Brown should be fine, though. Okay, guys. So, on the radiance, come on. So over here, can they see the screen? Okay, so I'm going to go over to the S. You can see up here, like if this is where we normally are is the 1. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's quilting, and then there's S. In that S, there are stitches that look like hand quilting, and they are going to be marked with an H. So there's a little H at the bottom. And so I'm going to just push number 5. It's just the longest stitches, so to me that just seems like it would be the easiest. Maybe I'll just stick to doing it up here in the top. You can also see here it automatically changed the tension to a 7.0. Normally it's closer to like a 4. And so I'm going to go ahead. I am going to, oops, let me pull that back up. Because I'm using a bozel under here, I'm going to go ahead and just pull this up so that my walking foot, I do like my walking foot. I don't think it's necessary, but anytime I'm sewing through a lot of thick layers, it's my go-to. And so I know not everybody feels the same way, and that's all right. We can all be a little different. So I'm just going to start stitching, and you'll see it's doing a bunch of stitches. Make sure I stay straight. So it's kind of almost like a mini zigzag, and it's pulling the bobbin thread up. And then when it goes forward, it's pulling from the top. And I think, oh, I've got a dark blue on top. I probably should change that to a white so it's easier for us to see. That might be part of our problem. Let's see what we've got. It didn't go very far, but you can see, oh, it turned out pretty nicely. So you can see those stitches. Now, I noticed this when I did it at home too. The first couple didn't work out great for me, so I definitely would suggest using some sort of starter to get it going. But then once you get going, they look pretty good and pretty consistent. Now I use this blue thread. You can see it up here. Kind of matches my nails. So I was telling Kate, I got my nails done this weekend. Just add it to the list of things. And I asked for I saw a gray with a hint of blue, probably similar to like this color. Like I thought it was really light. And then the bottle came out and it seemed too bright, but I was like, okay. Like it seemed more like, maybe not even that dark, but kind of like that. And then this is what they turned out to be. So anyway, crazy nails. All right, so that's that hand stitch on there, which I think it turns out really nicely. And when you know what you're doing, you kind of know to start before. You don't get those weird little ones at the beginning. I don't know if I'm getting any questions. That would be, oh, she's saying something to Peggy about that would be fun. So I'm not sure what. All right, so I'm going to go over to the quilting stitches. Now in quilting stitches, there's quilt 4 on this one. It has 3, 1, 3, 1. So this is going to be very similar, and it also does the tension. So I'm going to go ahead. We'll do that too. I'm just going to go right down. Well, maybe we'll go next to it. All right, so we'll do that one. Now, you don't have to have the Radiance or the Solaris to do this. I also had done it on my, my Brilliant. And so you just have to find the stitch on your machine that's like a 3, 1, 3, 1. Now, the higher end machines, of course, are going to change the tension for you. They're going to do a lot for you. But if I had that monofilament in the top and I change my tension myself to a 7, I should get something similar to that. And so this one, and now what I also discovered is if it didn't quite turn out the way I thought it should, if I sort of just wiggled that a little bit, the darker thread or the bobbin thread, whether it was dark or light, tended to move up a little bit and create a nicer looking stitch. So that's the quilt one.
Someone asked, do you have thicker thread in the bobbin right now?
You know what? I just have embroidery thread in there right now. And so I believe our embroidery thread is a 60 weight. And so I was going to say, I think there's, okay, so in here you can see on the Radiance, there is stitch 1 in like the basic stitching, this one here in a decorative stitch. So I'm going to try that one and see, because this is one that's probably in most machines. But you could also put a thicker thread in there than what I have. I didn't go get anything else to put on the bobbin. I just thought this is all the more I had tested at home. So it will be a fun thing to try at home too and see. Now it does take some time to sew when you're doing this. So one of the things I was thinking was, oh, I'll just kind of play with the pockets, and the pockets could have, you know, hand stitching or something different. Now this one's a little tighter. It doesn't show as well. So I don't know if we can stretch out our length, if that would help. Oh, and this bobbin was 4. So I'm going to change my tension to a 7. Come on. It's taking its time. I guess it really wants me to touch it a bunch of times. All right, so we're going to try that again. So this one, you can see it's the blue on top. So it pulled from the top. It didn't pull from the bobbin. So let's see when we change our tension how that works. Now again, if you want this to really look great, the Sashiko does not show the thread in between it all, so you definitely get a hand stitch from that. And so, all right. Now this stitch is definitely faster than the others were, so I'm not sure if it's going to give us as good of a look. Yeah, nope, that one. You can see where the bobbin thread started to pull up, but it's not enough to give you that stitch. Now if this, yeah, it's not quite working for us. So let's see. I think if you had the heavier thread, it might be better. I'll try one more. I'll change that tension a little bit more. I'm trying to remember what I had it on because I had it on the Brilliant, and on this fabric, I even wrote exactly what stitch I used. I'll bring it next time and tell you guys if you want to play with it. Let's see. That one came up a little bit more. So I think as I'm kind of fiddling with my tension, I'm getting closer. But some of that is trial and error to see what you come up with. And so, all right, we better get started though, or we won't be able to make this bag. But I hope that was kind of fun. Do I have, let's see. What did Jean say to Peggy that was fun? Is it something I needed to know, or?
I'm not sure.
Oh, did we lose that comment?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, Peggy, if you're still on and there's something that I needed to like know about that was fun, let me know. I'll see what I can figure out. All right, so for this pattern, again, you'll have it all quilted. So I'm cheating, of course, because that's just, we know that's what I do. Never play games with me. So, all right, get that out of the way. And I think Kate put Bosal in too, so if you're wanting to use your own fabric for this, you can. Again, this is an easy bag, and it's really adjustable. So what I did is I kind of figured out what size I wanted, and so this bag is 17 inches wide. So it's 17 inches wide, and it's basically 14 inches tall and 5 inches deep. So what I did is my exterior fabric, once it's quilted, I was like, okay, I know that's the size I want, so I'm just going to add those numbers. So I did 14 by 5 by 14, so 28 plus 5, 32. So so that's how I did this. I may have just done the math wrong in my head, but so that's what I did for the side. And then the side is just going to be the exact same width as whatever base you want. So if you want a 2-inch, then you just make it 2-inch, and you would make your bottom 2-inch for your math. And then I subtracted an inch from the side of what I wanted. And then what I did for the pocket is I wanted more than half. I actually used my phone, because at first I was at half, and I was like, my phone's gonna poke out, and I don't think I want it poked out. So I did that, and my phone goes to right here. So that was my measurement. They're it's a very easy adjustable pattern. So if you're like, oh, I really want a tall, skinny one, I want, I want the side to carry a wine bottle, that's fine. You can do that. So, I love that. Like, cruisers are here saying hi from the dinner table, and so, all right. Let's see, to make the wallet as well as a big, thank you, Judy. I think you're right. And I like that idea a lot. So I'll definitely look into that. There's actually a pattern in particular, but it's a little bit older. So I try and pick new ones that I really liked, and it had a bag as well as a wallet that matched with it. And so, all right. So like I said, if you want to adjust, it's really easy. It's really, really easy to do. So simple math, but the pattern is going to be for the size that I did. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this cut. I wish I had my other, because I cheated on my cutting instructions, of course. All right. So our first piece is going to be 17 by 31. So let's see if I go to the 20. I got to straighten out my edge. Sorry, guys. Isn't this pretty, though? This is really a pretty one. Perfect for all the farmers markets that are coming for this summer, and you could even use it as like a beach tote or anything you want. Craft fairs, like, wouldn't this be a great thing if you like doing those craft fairs to sell? I have a friend who owns a little fresh market. I was thinking about asking if she wanted some market bags to sell there. I was like, these would be an easy one to do. All right, so I decided 17 wide. Oh, you know what? I'm going to shorten mine a little bit. Reason being, I'm using a scrap piece of Bosal that we had here. And if I go 17 inches, I don't have quite enough for everything. So I'm just going to back it up, and I'm going to go, I think I'm going to do mine at 16. So it's going to be pretty similar, just slightly narrower. And so, let's see if we have, here's another thing. I don't know if Kate wants to put this in there, but if you have a 60 millimeter rotary cutter, it's much easier to use that for going through these, through the Bosal and everything. There we go. We'll just make sure. I think we're pretty close. All right. All right, and then our width, I think we were already at the 31. Let's see, put a 20. Or a little bit long. All right. I didn't pre-cut because I thought maybe we would get a little more quilting done, but I don't know why I thought we would. I knew we were going to be talking about all kinds of other stuff. All right, so our bag body is ready. So we've got our 17 by 20. So we have to decide, do we want that for our outside or that for our outside? Both are super cute. So, all right, so we've got that. Oh, I miscut that piece there. So we're gonna just do that real quick. Now again, you want to, I like to pre-quilt before I cut it so that if there's any shrinkage, that already happens. But if you cut it first and then you do some quilting, that'll work too. All right, so we're gonna get our other pieces real quick. So that's the body. Now we need our pockets. So I did reduce it by an inch, remember? So I'm just gonna go ahead, let's see, I did that on the width, not the length. I still have my length. So my length is still good, going to 31. So I'm gonna stick with my 5 inches. I like my 5. And so, oh, sorry, I'm feeling my bosal to make sure I have enough to do 5. So let's see, because I need 5 by 13 and 5 by 8. All right, there we go. All right, so for yours, remember the right measurement. So 17 by 31 would be the right ones. And then you'll do 5 by 13 twice, and then 5 by your pocket size. So again, I did mine at 8 inches, so 5 by 8 twice. And so what I'm trying to make sure here, you get more fabric than what I did. I mean, you'll have the right fabric, but I didn't have the right bosal. So I currently only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches wide. What I really need is 10 inches wide to get my 2 5 inches. And so thank you, Jana. This is, I think it's really pretty too. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna, because I don't have my full 10 inches, I'm going to adjust mine. This is not, you won't need to do this with yours, but I'm gonna go down to 3.5. I'm just dividing this in half because it's what I have. And I need a piece that's 5 inches, or excuse me, one that's 8 inches long and one that's 13 inches long. And so again, I'm doing 3.5 because I'm just cutting it in half. So I'm cutting this side in half. All right. There we go. I missed a little piece down here. So this will be the width of my bag. So this is going to be my width right here. And so here we're going to do 13. There we go. And then we'll do 8.
Someone asked if you're going to be making the pattern for the Italian bag with like the leather stripes or straps that you showed last time.
Oh, is that what you guys thought I was making? I hope I didn't like.
Oh no, I don't think they.
Okay, so yes, we can definitely do that. I've been trying to save some scraps. So when we were cutting the kits for the for this bag, we use faux leather for it. So I'm trying to come up with some scraps to make a sample. So that's probably not going to happen until, like, I would say early summer. I'm hoping to have that ready for you guys like June, maybe 1st of July. And so Jake's graduating in the spring event and everything. And the Bag Lady Club, I'm a little off on that. So I don't want to promise you that I'll have it anytime sooner than that. I'd like to, and I'll try, but all right. So I've got another 8. And then I'm going to do this one at 13. I'm going to make sure, I think this was a little uneven, so we're going to just cut that at the 3.5. There we go. Just, oh, it's pretty close, so I'm not going to worry about that. All right, we'll go up to the 13. All right. So here's what we've got. So these are going to be our pocket, and we could turn them over. We could do it whichever way we want. So I could do, like on this one, I did the side the opposite color, and I did the pocket the same color as the other. So I think I'm going to do the same. I like how that turned out. And so we're going to do opposite there. So this is how our pocket's going to be. To prep this, what we need to do is put binding on the top. And so I'm going to just do this. So we'll do that real quick. We're going to, this kit comes with, I love this. It's kind of a watercolory blue to it. So it's really nice. All right. So we're going to do just, now I did a 2-inch on these for my bindings. Some people I know like to go a little bit bigger than that. If binding stresses you out, go 2.5, because that way you've got more room to fold it over. And so, but like I said, I'm just going to do a 2, and we're just going to go over. We're going to do the top of the pocket, and we're going to do the top of the side, and we're going to do that for both sides. So, all right, off we go. All right. So I'm just, and I just did straight binding. I didn't do bias. For doing the outer edges of the bag, I do think bias would make it a little easier, but it is not necessary. You can clip this on. What I do is I'm folding my binding strip in half, and I'm lining it up with the top of my pocket. Oops, we're going to change our thread, or our stitch though. There we go. So I'm going to go with a scant 1/4 inch. So what that means is I'm going to go just a little less than 1/4. You can see this line on my foot is 1/4 inch. So I'm not quite to it. I'm slightly over. And that gives me enough room to flip this over and still catch it on the other side. So. Let's see if I have some scissors over here. There we go, perfect. All right. So I just turn, what I do is I turn it over and I cut off my excess. Kind of see how it folds there. I got a little extra there. All right, so then to finish that, we're going to just roll that over. And then I like to use binding clips, which I always say, and then I don't have them in here. Since I don't have binding clips, we're going to just go ahead and we're going to use pins to do it. And I just like to hold a couple of them in there, because what we want is we want to make sure we're covering up that line. Now you could also go stitch from this side and just know that you're covering up that stitch, because that's what you're looking to do. But what I like to do is stitch from this side, because when I do, I can basically stitch just under the ditch. So, and the ditch meaning where the two fabrics line up. So I'm kind of lining this up in here. I am going to increase my stitch length because it's a little more forgiving when it's a little longer. And then we're just going to stitch along here. So you can see as I go, I'm just over from that binding. It does look like I got caught a little bit underneath there because it's so thick, it's catching under the foot. So I'm just going to use, if you have a stiletto, it's a good thing to use. I just use a stick pin to push that fabric under. There we go. No, it's not pulling it through. So it's just catching on there a little bit. So I'm going to just move it up just a little. Nothing to get worried about, just manhandle it a little bit. Take that out of there and let it soften up. Now you do want to stay close to that line because we don't have a lot of extra fabric, just a little bit back there. So pull that one out. So there we go. That's how you add your binding. And when you look at the back, you can see I've caught it all back there. And so now normally this would be quilted and caught up on there. On here we've got it loose. So when we attach it to the back, to our side, I should say, not our back, we're going to go ahead and top stitch around there as well. And so, but first let's add our binding to a side. Go. So we're going to fold this and start down here. And then again, we're going to do that just under 1/4 inch. Now there are many ways to do binding. So just because I'm showing this one today, there are plenty of other ways. So if you have a different way that you prefer doing it, please do it your way. There's no wrong way to do it. So part of why I decided to show it this way today is I thought, let me show you a different way than what I've been showing. So if this one kind of clicks with you better and, you know, this is ends up being your way, then that's great. All right. So again, we're just going to turn it over. I'll turn it this way, it's a little easier. And I'm just going to cut off the excess fabric. So I tend to keep my binding all together, and I just, as I'm using it, I cut it off. And so that way I don't waste it. All right, I know I should use my pins, but I'm just gonna hold it in place and hope for the best. So here we go. All right. So there, you can see that one's on there. And then the last thing we're gonna do is we're just going to attach this here. So I want to make sure I'm lining up my bottom and my sides. Again, normally this would be quilted, so it would hold in there a little bit better. But I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a pin in to help hold it in place. And then I'm just going to basically baste it. Oops, it slid on me a little bit. Just to hold that in place. So we're just going to go ahead and stitch around the outside of that real quick. Make sure my fabric didn't fold. The pin is, it's so thick that the pin is not happy with it. So we're just gonna go right on here. I'm doing about 1/8 inch. I'm going to increase my stitch length even from where I was before, which was fairly long. So I'm up to a 4. And we're just gonna go for it. And again, we're just going down that side. Just try and kind of keep everything lined up as best as you can. And this has two benefits. One, as you're sewing this to the body of the bag, it helps keep pieces from separating. And so that way you're less likely to have a fold in the fabric. The other thing it does is it helps sort of decrease the height of the fabric and the foam. So it condenses it so it's easier to sew to the other bag or to the bag body. And so, because it's very thick and bulky. And so it's foam, so it squishes easy, but it's just easier to sew with when it's a little flattened out. Just double checking. Looking good. Oh, puckering a little bit. So I'm just gonna, I can see this is puckering here. Not a big deal. What I'm doing is I'm sort of stretching this up just a little bit so that as we go, I'm not gonna get a hard crease. So. There we go. Did I mention I cheat? So there we go. We have this great pocket. Now it's not wide enough for a phone because I shrunk it, but you can put all kinds of cool things in there. And so you can put a ruler in there if you wanted. All right, so that one is finished. I'm so sorry. I really should have remembered my Claritin. I'm going to take these back over there, even though for you, you're going to go ahead and finish those as well. We're going to get started on the side. I want to show you how to do that. So we're going to kind of do half a bag and then, but you'll be able to see. I'll finish it and bring it in. And so, all right, guys. So what we're going to do is we want to mark the halfway point on our bag sides. So I think I have, yes, I have this marker. So this is 31 inches. And so what I want to do is I want to mark halfway from the end, which is going to put me at 16 and a half. And so here we go. We're at 16 and a half. And I'm just going to mark right there. I only need it on the edge. I don't need it all the way across. And I'm going to do it on the other side. I know I didn't create my other side yet, but I'm going to just mark it so we know what we're doing. We're going to pretend I did both my pocket sides. And so there we go. And the pockets are optional. You don't even have to make the pockets if you don't want. You could just do it even simpler. So then on this side, we're going to fold it in half and come up with our center line as well. So this is our exterior of the body. And I believe in the pattern, what I had said is we want to put our lining sides together. So I think I should have marked it the other way. That's okay. No, that's all right. I did. So we're going to be doing that side together. The other side's hard to see. So we're going to keep it this way for now. And then I'm trying to decide. Yeah, no, we want that for the outside. It's too pretty to put inside. All right. So I'm going to mark the halfway right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this pin because I marked on the opposite side, and then this side I'll use pin to mark it. There we go. Pin, pin, pin. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to do our lining sides together. So on the pocket, you want to make sure your pocket is outside. This, we decided we wanted the pretty light fabric on the outside. The pretty teal is going to stay inside, even though typically I do a light color on the inside and the dark on the outside. I'm changing it up with this one. And now we're going to, I'm going to just pin this on. Now, here's another idea. It's not necessarily a tip or a suggestion. When I did mine, I rounded the corners a little bit on my pocket. So not a lot, just a little bit to be able to go around those edges. I like when I did that, it did seem to make it easier for me to get around there. A little harder when I folded my binding over, partially because I didn't use a bias binding. But that's what I did with this. I did it as well on the top edges of the bag. And I honestly think on those, I would prefer a straight corner because it's a little easier for binding. But again, that's up to you. 15.5. I don't know what 15.5 is. Oh, did I do my math wrong? Oh, I did. 16.5 is not the middle of 31. Thanks, guys. I'm so glad that you have good math brains. Let's move that over. Oh, see, and I can tell on here now that it's like in between. All right. Let's see. Let's line this up with a number that makes sense. We'll put it on 20. 20 to 51. And we're going to go to 15 and a half. There we go. 15 and a half is going to be 35 and a half. Right here. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. 15 and a half. All right, so now we are in the middle. Otherwise, we were going to be off. All right, so if you want to round that, what I used is just a little pill bottle. It's like it was one that I had like a trial size. Right now, what I'm going to use, because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't have to be the same each time. It's just what works for you and what you have and what you like. So I'm just going to use a cap to a water bottle. So I'm just kind of lining up the edges of the cap with the edges of this. So I'm just going to take off a tiny little bit there and do the same thing on this corner. And you're just doing that on the bottom corners. You're not doing that on the top. And so put this back on here so the water bottle doesn't spill. It's just a water bottle for our iron. So I know I'm not poisoning anybody. Sherry, you were there too. Oh, I wish I'd known. We could have hung out. So do you have any of the $20 beers? So, which was shocking. $20 for a beer. Now they were big, but still $20 for a beer. That's whoa. I'm not even a big beer drinker, but how do you go to an AC/DC concert and not drink beer at it? So yes, Dolores, you will get the pattern with the kit. So, all right, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to trim these corners away So again, it's just a little bit. It's not a big, there we go. Close that up. And we'll do this one. Perfect. All right. So then what we're going to do is you're going to clip and pin this all the way around. So I am going to have to beg Kate to go get the clips for me because I didn't think as far ahead as this. And so there we go. She's going to go get that for me now. I'd buy, you had 2 or 3. Yeah, you know, you're there. What are you going to do? I think my boys, don't tell anyone, I think they snuck more of my beer than I drank, though. And so, all right, here we go. I'm going to put that clip there. Thank you, Kate. So as you go around the corner, you just want to kind of ease it a little bit and give yourself a little extra. So you'll see I have like a little bit of a crease here, kind of a fold, because I'm trying to allow enough fabric for us to be able to turn. And so you're right, Sherry. I think there was what, Yingling and something else. I can't remember, but yeah, it wasn't anything that was like a special. They had, I almost got one, but then I thought it might be too sweet. They had like the spiked Arnold Palmers. So that would be good too, I think. Next concert, Sherry, we'll have to plan ahead. We'll meet up in the beer garden. We did pre-party with some friends that were there. They were really into it and had been partying for hours before we arrived. I was like, whoo, cannot keep up with this crew. So they didn't sit with us. So, but they were definitely getting primed for the concert. All right. Oops. See, this is, you can see when I'm clipping, I'm trying to be really careful because as I clip, that fabric keeps wanting to fold down. That's why having it quilted beforehand makes it a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a clip to the top since mine isn't quilted. That helps me keep that fabric out of the way. You can see here now I've got it clipped along the side around the corner. I'm going to work this side and then we're going to go ahead and stitch it on. And so again, we're going to ease that corner. I don't know what time it is. Let me see. 1:14. Okay. So we are kind of using all of our time today. What a shock. So here we are. So I didn't hear anybody mention anything about their Mother's Days, if there was anything interesting. My boys and I, we used to every Mother's Day, I had a little area for herbs. So that was our big Mother's Day thing, is we would go and we would buy new herbs and we would plant them all. And their favorite was stevia, because I think that's how you pronounce it, stevia or stevia. And so they loved it. And they would go out and they would show people when they would come visit us, they would be like, oh, this is like a sugar plant. You can eat it and it tastes like candy. And so it was so cute. Now I want to show you something. Even with you guys correcting my measurements, I'm still off by a little bit. So see how I'm off? If I line them up, I'm off by about 1/2 inch there. So I probably miscut or something. Not a big deal. This bag, again, very forgiving. And part of the pattern, the way I did it, intentionally was to cut our side about 1 inch shorter than where we're expecting the top of this to be. Reason for that is now, with that little mistake there, I can still go and I can trim off 1/2 inch from this side. And now and then I'll be even again. You just want to be careful when we put our next side on that we're putting it at the same place so that it does line in then. So, all right. So we are now all clipped in. I'm double checking to make sure I got my fabric in since it wasn't quilted. So we're just going to go over and we're going to stitch. Now it is a little tricky. It's not hard, it's just a little tricky. So you want to take your time going through there. You also, if you have a stiletto, you'll want to use that to help you feed it through. I'm of course looking for one and I'm not finding one. I meant to bring my own, but I don't think I have it in my bag of goodies because, you know, why would I have everything in my goodies? It's all right though, we can use. What's that?
There should be one in that drawer.
Let's see. Ooh, I think Kate's right. Kate is the best. She knows everything. All right, here we go. So we've got a stiletto. So if you have it, it is helpful for pushing your fabric through and keeping it all lined up because it's a lot of bulk. So we're gonna do that and then I'll show you how to add the binding and then you'll be able to finish the bag on your own. I know I'm only kind of doing half a bag, but look how pretty it's turning out. It's really sweet. And so, all right, over we go. I think, going to change our bobbin thread because I put that brown in so that we'd be able to see it for playing around with stitches. But I don't think I have enough of it, plus brown is not really going with what we're doing.
Susan's asking, is the light side the inside or the outside?
For this bag, I'm doing it as the inside, but the bag can go reversible. And so you could do it either way though. I think it'd be really pretty either direction. All right, so you'll see I like to go on the opposite, I don't know if it's opposite, but I like to go on this side and then work my way around. I'm starting on the inside. I know some people like to go from the outside because then you can see what you're easing on the corners. It's kind of a personal preference. Some people would tell you one way's right, one way's wrong. I'm not going to tell you that because I think I'm probably doing it wrong, but I think if you went to like Bianni's website, she probably does it the opposite, but this is how I like to do it, so it's what I'm up to. So, oops, you know what? I forgot to change our stitch length, so we do want to change our stitch length. You still can go with a fairly large one, but I would stick around 3.0. Oops, I'm gonna put this up. I want to use my stiletto because I want to push that pocket up a little bit. I think it slid down as I was moving. So these stilettos are fantastic. It's nice because they do tuck back into themselves so you don't get stabbed if you're taking it anywhere. All right, here we go. So again, I'm just kind of pushing down in here and I'm holding this in place. And as it goes, I'm just sort of doing that. I'm going with basically a scant 1/4 inch. A reason for that is I cut my binding at 2 inches, so I want to make sure it's going to wrap all the way around. And so if you don't like fighting with your binding and you want to have that extra, just cut it at 2.5. And so see as I go, I'm just staying just shy of that 1/4. And this part's really easy. We're just doing a straight line. So when we get down here, we're going to have to be a little more cognizant of what we're doing. And so I'm going to get up to here. Now I'm going to make sure as I'm looking down here, I'm kind of making sure my underside is sort of folded towards me, if that makes sense. See how there's a little bit of a fold here? Because I want this to be flat as far as I can go, because I'm going to come up to probably about here, and then I'm going to lift and turn and start moving that fold towards the back, and so of where we've already been. So you'll see here as we get there. So I'm going up to about here, a little further maybe. There we go. Now, I'll move that up just a little bit. While we do this, we're going to kind of turn this up and see how as I did, I pushed this back and that's flattening out for me. I know it's not really easy to see, so I'm kind of going at an angle and then I'm going to work my way over. I'm double checking that I've got everything here. It did kind of pull as I did that, so I'm going to just sort of grab it. And here we go. Now here's the other thing. You want to make sure you get both layers in there. And if you need to at the end, you can trim that a little bit. So if it pokes out more than you wanted it to, it's okay. You'll just trim that off and no one will know. So here we go. We've got this side flat. I do think I'm sewing a little further over, but that's okay. All right, again, we're getting to the next corner, so I'm just checking. My fabric is folded over this way, so I can come up to that corner. I do feel like this is also pulling in there more than it should, so we're gonna just watch that. Turn it a little bit, and we're gonna then pull that, push that back. I know it's not showing the best, I'm sorry. I hope you're getting the idea of it. And again, we just want to take our time as we're going through here. No rush. Those corners are the only thing really that are kind of tricky on this. And again, I'm watching as I go to make sure that I'm lined up, that both my fabrics are there. All right. And again, if you end up going with a bigger stitch and your binding doesn't go around it, it's okay. You can just trim the extra off. And so I definitely did a little bit of that on my bag. And so, yeah. All right. So we now have one side on. Let me take that pin out. And you can see it's all pinned together there. So we're just now going to add our binding. So we're going to do basically what we just did to sew our binding on, and then we're going to roll it over. And so I decided when I did the first one to do the, because I like where I sew it on, I feel like it has a little bit nicer look to it. It gets, I shouldn't say nicer, that's not the right word, but it's, you don't see the fold? I'll show you what I mean. So like on here, you can see this is the side I stitched it onto, so you don't see the stitch at all. So you have kind of a cleaner look. You go to this side, and I have, you know, some places I've got a little extra, some places it's real tight. So depending on what you think, you could have that on either side. I think it's close enough, and unless someone's coming up and really inspecting it, no one will ever know. So thank you, Carol. All right, so we've got that. We're going to go ahead. We're going to pin this on. Now, what will happen is when you do this, you'll be able to start your binding from like the bottom here or the side, wherever you want to start, and you'll be able to go all the way around the entire bag. And so you'll have one continuous piece of binding because it'll go up and around, and then go this side and up and around and back down to wherever you started. And so you may want to keep that in mind as you go to do it. Wherever you start is where you'll end. So the pattern calls for cutting 3 pieces of binding, attaching them so that you've got one really long piece, and then you'll be able to do that. So I know we did the binding on the, on the pockets. So we did this, but this is going to be very much the same thing. It's just now you're going to go around those curves. And so when you do, you want to kind of do what we just did. You're going to be very careful about how you, like when you get to those corners, that you're not catching anything and you're going around. Now and then once it's on, you'll be able to clip extra. So for example, right here, I can see when I stitched this, I have a little extra from my side that I stitched onto, and that's okay. We'll be able to cut that, and that way when we fold that binding over and attach it, we'll be able to do that. So I'm just going to go with the little piece I have here. I'm going to check the time. 1:25. Oh, we're going really long. Okay, guys, I'm going to be really quick here. I'm nervous that we're going too long.
There's not another show today. So.
Oh, good. Thank goodness. I think they've stopped scheduling shows after me just because they're like, it just takes so long. All right. So I'm going to start up here. I think I have enough to kind of go around. Yeah, I have enough to go around this side. And so I'm just going to clip this on. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one. I'm going to clip this on the outside of the bag. And so I'm just going to use our clips. And then I'll show you. Now, I think on this one, I'm just going to leave it squared. Oops, that folded down funny. Now, there's another way that I've done binding that I really like, and I pre-fold it. So you just have the 2 sides in, and I really like that for this kind of a concept because you open it up and you stitch it. So you stitch it essentially like this on there, and you then fold it up and around, and you have that other side already folded. So when you do that, you have a little more forgiveness on it because the other side is is not connected already. And so that method is, to me, a little easier for binding big things. But again, I wanted to show you two different ways. So here we go. That corner, we really want to make sure we're getting a lot. The other thing is if there's too much there already, you could certainly clip back some. Here we go. And I'm leaving a little, I don't want a lot, a little excess there. So I'm kind of folding it. So you kind of see I'm folding it just a little bit and clipping that in place. Oh, someone asking something.
Yeah. People are asking if this is included in Bag Lady Club.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, do you guys want the pattern in Bag Lady Club? I guess I could throw it in there. I don't know. I've got so much going in there already. I think the boss lady may get upset with me. Oh, see, we see it's not included. So that's all right. Like I said, you can kind of follow along. I think it's a pretty easy one. Or there's the kits, and the kits include everything to be able to make it. And so, what did Judy ask? I don't know, something hard to deal with. Yes. So like when I did this one, and it's not very thick. And so, but it still has a lot of structure. And so I would say this is kind of the thickness of a heavyweight fusible fleece. So that's a great question. And so, but yeah, I think someone else said it doesn't have the same structure, and it doesn't. Like it's a little bit floppy. It kind of falls over. I love it very much, but it is a little bit floppier. And so, but that would be what a heavyweight fusible fleece essentially would be, is that weight. And so, now I do think making this a 2.5 inch would make it easier for binding. And so, a heavyweight fusible fleece, you might be able to do a French seam too around it. And so,
Kathy asked, is it too late to join Bag Lady?
It's never too late, Kathy. No, it should be in our product list. So if you do the shop all, I know we had it in there earlier in the show. And so Kate, because she's always listening, probably just put it in there too. Am I right? Yep. See, I knew it. All right. So we're going to just do this one. All right. So we're going to go over here. So again, I'm going to end up going back and fixing this bag because I think it's adorable and I might want this for my own personal collection. So we're going to stitch along here. Again, we're going to do just a scant 1/4 inch because we want enough of our fabric to be able to fold around. So we're going to do that, and then I'll show you the binding real quick. Again, the hardest part is just our corners. Otherwise, it's just a straight stitch. So I'm going to go over here. This one, because I'm on the outside, it's easier for me to start over here. So I have this folded under, so you can kind of see I'm folding that under and stitching on this side. There we go. Oh, what did I do with my stiletto? Can you reach that for me? I'm sorry, thank you. Whoops, and then I shocked you. My goodness. All right, here we go. I'm going to start down a little bit because I know I'm going to probably pull this off later so I can have one continuous, or at least be able to add another strip to it at home. Why is it not doing that for me? There we go. All right, again, I'm doing that scant 1/4 inch. So I'm just shy of that second red line on my foot. So I'm just double checking. Now remember, everything's already sewn together, so we're just attaching this on here. So if you're a little off on your stitch, it isn't a big deal. It's going to get hidden, so to speak, as we fold everything over. No one will know. All right. Looks like this is stretching on me just a little bit. Now, because of the bulk, if it doesn't seem to be moving through the way you want it to, excuse me, I'm so sorry about this. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll support the bag because there's all that bulk in the back. And I don't pull, but I kind of just hold it there and gently like move it forward, if that makes sense. So I'm not really pulling, but I'm kind of, as the machine goes, making sure that the fabric is moving where it's supposed to. And so, all right, again, I've got everything kind of folded here. Now it's up on the top so I can feel it's right here. So I'm going to come up to right about here so I stay inside the line of that fold, and then I'm going to turn. So it's a little bit of a feeling game here as I do this. All right, and then I've hit that spot, so now I want to kind of come across that corner a little bit. As I do so, I also want to get that kind of out of the way. And my binding I gave it a little too much, so I can see it's sort of gathering a little down here. So that's okay. We're just going to, as we're going along, keep moving it. All right, you can feel there's no bump there. So I'm going to just go ahead a couple of stitches before I turn again. All right, and we're going to turn over here. All right. The fact that my binding, I didn't clip it quite right, making it have to work a little harder, but that's okay. So you can see I have it loose because I must have put a little too much on. So I'm going to just hold this over here, and then I'm going to clip it in place so that I know where I'm going with it. All right, there we go. All right, we'll go into that next corner. All right. So just folding down, making sure I'm not catching the exterior of the bag. There we go. A little far. I think I'm gonna have to, I went a little too far, so I'm gonna slide myself back. Oop. There we go. So if you do, so that's, see how I made that mistake, and it's no big deal. Try and just stop where you're at when you realize it and just do a little self-correcting. Now I can see here my binding, because this is so bulky here. We're staying to the right of the bulk. It's kind of folded over, but you just want to make sure you're not catching your binding in there. Okay, there we go. Let's just take those off. We know that we had too much, so we're just gonna. Okay. Now the corner, if you rounded it, you'll work your way around it. If you left it square, like I did this time, you'll go until you get just like on a quilt. So if you've done a quilt before, you'll know what to do, but you're going to go up here until you're about 1/4 of an inch away from your edge. You're going to stop, and you're going to literally sew off the corner. So you can see here, there's the corner of my foam. I'm going to stitch to that corner. And so I've stitched off now. And then when you do it, you're going to turn it. And you can see I'm kind of lifting it, but I've got that stitched up to there. And you take this to the corner. And then fold it up and back down. Well, I could be doing a better job of doing this. So I fold it up and then down like that. So it kind of lines up again with that corner. So I've got that little triangle there. And then you just go back over here and put down and continue on. So get that out of our way. You want to make sure your other side doesn't get caught up in there. But here we go. I'm just going to go a little ways because when I get home, I do want to be able to add more binding to it. You can see there now I have that, and I'll just be able to fold it over. So that's what we're going to do next is we're just going to fold this over and we'll stitch that into place. Now on this one, I actually like to stitch from this side so that I know I get everything in because there's just so much in there. Now if you have extra threads, it's a good time to trim those off as well. So we're just, like I said, going to go like this. Our main goal is to make sure we're getting it all the way over. Now if you look at that stitch line, I have a white thread in there, so I know that white line is going to be where the fabrics meet. So I like to try and get past that so that when I stitch, I'm not stitching on top of the binding on the other side. But if you do, that's okay too, because you figure this side's going to have it. So it's not a big deal. So we're just going to go down, and that's what we're going to do. Oh, I feel the fabric folded. Go. So then we're just going to stitch down here. I'm just going to do a little ways. The corner is going to be just like we've done all the other times. The only thing I would say is when you go to do this, you're going to want to clip first. But like this corner right now, it's too bulky. I cannot, there's no way I'm going to be able to get that to stitch on there. And part of that is because when I did this, I knew I had extra. See how much extra I have? So that's why on that, what you're going to do is you're just going to trim your excess off. So you'll just be able to go just like that and get that out of the way. And then that way when I fold this up again, like that, and I bring it down on there, I'm able to go all the way over where I need to. So, all right, so I'm just going to stitch a little bit. I can see Tommy's wanting to come in too and get to work on his project. So I just want to show you a little bit. Again, when I do this, I'm going to go just close to that edge. And so I'll start up here, I guess. All right. And I'm trying to go as close to the edge as I can, but catch the edge of my binding. And so good time to use that stiletto to make sure it's staying in there. We can also increase our stitch length a little bit for this. Again, I'm just kind of trying to keep it right on there. There we go. Just do a few more inches and then we'll finish up. I think you guys will be able to finish this on your own because that's all that's left is you put that binding on. Oh wait, I forgot to show them the handles. I guess it's not almost done. All right, well, we'll do this a little bit and then I'll show you the handles. Oh, sometimes I'm just, all right, cut that. All right, so I didn't do a whole lot, but you can see on here, I just kind of caught the edge of that. And when we turn it over, we should be basically in the ditch. So you don't really see it much. So that's what you'll want to do around the whole thing. Look at that stripe, it's so stinking cute. All right, I'm going to show you how to do the handle, how I did it. I like how I did it, so I hope you guys do too. So what I did is I took an inch of quilted fabric. And so let me get this and this. And I'm not going to do a whole thing of it, but I'll show you a little bit so that you can see. So I took an inch by the length of my strap that I wanted. So I think the pattern calls for they're 26 or 28 inch strips for your strap, so nice and wide. So you have it nice and long. I'm going to shorten this just because we're only doing this as a demo. And then what you do is you take your accent fabric, your binding strip. So since I already have this one pre-cut, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this one off. All right, so then you take your 2-inch strip, and what you're going to do is you're going to, so you've got 2 choices. So 2 choices on this, and I'm gonna show you both. Well, I'm not gonna demonstrate them both. I'm gonna show you both. This is the way I'm gonna show you that I think is really fun. So on one side, it has one of the fabrics. You have to pick which one because the entire back and the faux binding is from the other fabric. The other way to do it is you can actually add binding to the sides of your strap. And so then you would have the option of having both, and it would show both. Yes, Carol, it would, but I'm so bad about changing feet in here, so I try and stick with one little thing. All right, so those are the 2 options. Because we've already been doing binding, I think you know what you're up to. So this one is a little bit different, and I like how it turns out where this ends up being the back side. So what you do is you do right sides together, and so right side is going to be on your strap, whichever side you want to show. So on here, if you want to have this color as your strap, then you're going to do that as your right side. If you want this, if you want to do the accent color as your strap, you're going to do that. So I'm thinking, even though I love this fabric, that this would be the better strap color because it's a little darker. So we're going to go ahead and use that as our strap color. And so that's going to be our right side. We're going to pretend that this is the full length of our strap. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and we're going to stitch here. And I use about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. You could go the full 1/4, but then you're not going to have much fabric showing on your handle. So the bigger your seam allowance, the more of the stripe you see, the less of the fabric. So you can adjust a little bit, but you also still have to have room to turn it. So I'm going to take you over. This is a pretty quick step. And so here we go. So again, I'm using about 1/8 of an inch on this. And I'm going to put a quick knot of cone. All right, so I've got right sides together. And I'm going about 1/8 of an inch. You probably want maybe a 3 on your length because we do want it to be pretty stable because we're going to be manhandling it here in a minute. You'll see. And these instructions are in the they're in the pattern. So, plus you always have the video to come back to. All right, there we go. So now what I've done, so I've did that side, and you can see there's extra, right? So I've got way more than I need. So I'm going to slide my quilted fabric over to the edge of my fabric again. So I'm going to just clip that. And we're going to do that. We're just going to stitch all the way down. So I'll put another one down here. Excuse me. All right. So again, 1/8 of an inch. Oh, sorry, the foot pedal is sliding on me. There we go. We need like a little mat under there. All right. Perfect. All right, so you can see it kind of makes like a tube right there. So our next step is actually going to be, we're going to flip this in. And getting it started takes a little effort, but once it gets going, it's pretty easy. I'm going to grab the turning tool. I believe I saw one in here. I used a pencil at home. It worked out excellent. So kind of pushing down in here. I'm trying to remember which side I started with. Here it goes. The other thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off our extra that I didn't bind, just so that as we're doing this, we're not doing anything more than we need to. There we go. All right. So you can see that started. I like to push on the side that's the quilted fabric because I feel like it's a little sturdier, but either side should be good. swear this went easier at home. That's how it usually works. All right, so I don't know if there's any comments as I'm birthing our thing here. Nope, nothing there, so I don't have to worry. All right. Oh, here, maybe we'll go up here to do this because they don't have to be there. And that way, I'll come back over here, guys. All right, so again, I'm just pushing this in. So I'm turning it in, and I'm using this turning tool, which doesn't seem to be grabbing on as well. Like I said, I used a pencil earlier, and that seemed to work a little better, which is weird because that's technically a turning tool. Maybe because the pencil had an eraser on it, I think it kind of grabbed things. Grabbed it a little better. All right. And it took me a little time to fight with it. I want to say the whole handle when I did it. So this is the one I did. It took me, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And so, which I know is kind of a long time, but the other thing is this one is foam, so that might be part of why this is taking a little longer. The other one was that pre-quilted fabric, so it was a little thinner, so it would be more like if you used that heavyweight fusible fleece. Here we go, we've got it. So that didn't take that long. But again, I only did like a 5-inch strip. All right, so this is what our strap looks like. Look how cute that is. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. All right, so for doing the strap, all you're gonna do is you're going to turn this under about 1/4 of an inch. Now this is a little raw here. Let's see what I do with our scissors. All right, here we go, I'm back. So you're just gonna have a clean cut across one end. So you see how that, you're gonna fold that under 1/4 of an inch. I like to just sort of stitch across there, but if you wanna wait to stitch, you can. So I'm gonna just clip it in place. What I did on this bag is I went in from either end I went in 4 inches and down 1 inch. So I went down 1 inch and I just marked on here, I'm down 1 inch and I came in 4 inches. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 inch. So right here is where I marked. And then I did the same thing on the other side. So I went 4 inches and 1 inch. So like that and like that. And then I put my strap on the inside of that 4-inch line and lined it up with that 1 inch. In fact, I think I made a longer line so that I could actually line it. There we go. Do this one too. All right, there we go. Perfect. And now, then I put that, I lined it up with that 4-inch line and with that, and I just stitched it in place. And so, you know, now that I'm looking at mine, I think I did it at 1.5 inches. I lied to you. I lied to you all. So ignore the last, 30 seconds. So you're gonna mark this down, still at the 4-inch line, but at 1.5. So it's just, it gives you a little more space. And then I just stitched it on there. And so just making sure that I enclosed the raw edge from the fold. So that's it. Then you do it on the other side and your bag is finished. And I know it doesn't look very finished right now because we're kind of trying to hurry, but look how cute that is with that striped border. And then they'll have this great handle on there. It's just a really fun, cute bag, relatively easy. I swear it is. It is good, really good practice for binding though, because it's not easy it's not the easiest thing to put binding on, but the more times you do it, the easier it does get. So I'm hoping you like the project, you want to do it. We've got lots of choices for you. And so anyway, I guess that's everything. So we've got the bags that we have coming up. We've got next week is the spring event. And we've got, that'll be the little duffel, which of course you guys can play along with. You can get the pattern and the kits for that. We've got the market totes. We've got Bag Lady Club, which will give you 3 complete bags and at least 4 patterns. And then like all the stuff to make them. And there's some little goodies, of course, there always are. I think that's it. All right. Anything else? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully I'll get to see a few of you next week. If not, I'll see you back here in 2 weeks. So, all right, you all take care. Bye-bye.